It is an enormous privilege to have been elected the leader of the Parliamentary Liberal Party. I am humbled, I am honoured, and I am up for the job. Ted, it's terrific to have you join me as a deputy. Here in this room, just a couple of hours ago, our colleagues placed their faith and their trust in us. And these positions are gifts of our party room, and I will always respect and value what the members of my party room tell me. I have great affection and great connection with the Liberal Party party room over a career of 25 years. And I've spent a lot of time this week talking to my colleagues, and I'm optimistic that they have the right ideas, and I'm positive about what lies ahead. But on May the 3rd, we faced a significant defeat. And the scale and the size of that defeat is not lost on any of us. And right now, we have to respect the result and reflect with humility. Can I say something about Angus Taylor? Can I acknowledge Angus Taylor for putting his hand up to lead the Liberal Party? He would have been a fine leader of the Liberal Party at this time. Angus and I have worked collegiately together over many years in government and in opposition. He's an intelligent, talented contributor to so many ideas, initiatives, and what we need to do as a Liberal Party going forward, and he will have an integral role in our party with the next steps going forward. As I said, we listened to the Australian people on Saturday, and we will continue to listen to them around the country. We have to have a Liberal Party that respects modern Australia, that reflects modern Australia, and that represents modern Australia. And we have to meet the people where they are. And that's what I am committed to doing and what I'm determined to do. I want to do things differently, and we have to have a fresh approach. I want to harness the talents of every single person in our party room going forward to develop the clear, articulate policy agenda that does meet Australians where they are, to develop robust policy processes, to value those contributions, and I can't wait to get started, along with Ted, on that important task. I want to talk a little bit about me, and I want to talk about my views of the Liberal Party, because the Liberal Party has shaped the person that I am today. My story is a migrant story. It's a small business story. It's a rural Australia story. It's a story about a mum and a family, and it is a modern Australian story. When I came to this country as a young girl from a cold English boarding school in my teenage years, I stepped out of the aeroplane at Brisbane Airport and I looked at this brilliant blue sky, and I knew that I'd come to the best country on earth. And I knew that Australia was a place where I could dream my biggest dreams, and I have never stopped feeling grateful for this country, for what it has given me. I was able to pursue the dream of flying and become a pilot, an aerial stock mustering pilot, flying very small planes very close to the ground. And in my life in Western Queensland, I worked in the shearing sheds. I learnt the value of a hard day's work in the hot sun. I learnt the real value of and the dignity of manual labour. And I always said there was no better wisdom than the wisdom of the shearers in their singlets, sitting at the huts at the end of a hard, hard day. And while they may not have had the education or the training that perhaps others have had, I will always respect that wisdom, and I love it when I see it across this magnificent country. I became, as I said, a farmer's wife, where I raised my 3 children on the family farm. And there were tough years, just like the years so many Australians are experiencing now on the land, with the drought that's biting, particularly in northern Victoria and Western Victoria. But from those tough times, I became a strong person, I believe, And I went to study when I was in my 30s, like many mums on the farm. We needed the income. And I was able to pursue 3 finance degrees, including a specialty Masters in Tax Law, which is where my great interest in tax policy comes from. But I found my pathway into politics, and I aligned with Liberal values through the hard work, the effort, the reward, the opportunity. They were my story, and they're many Australian stories. And I'm still just as passionate about the Liberal Party as I was when I hooked up my caravan, the caravan I lived in as a shearer's cook, painted it with Liberal Party logos and towed it up and down the Murray River. By then I had an economics degree, and I thought that people would be interested in my analysis of countervailing tariffs. What I learnt was people wanted me to listen to what their lives were like, and I did. And I wanted to represent them. And I knew that nobody in Canberra understood what life was like in the small rural community where I came from. And that fired my determination to walk into the government party room led by John Howard in 2001. I am, as I said, incredibly grateful for what the Liberal Party has given me, and everything that I am as I stand before you today is reflected by the party that has been part of, well, over half of my adult life. And each one of my colleagues has their own uniquely Australian story. And as we develop robust processes with respect to policies going forward, I know that their individual life's journeys will impact that. And that will mean that those policies best reflect what the Australian people are looking for. And I know at the next election we will have a competitive policy offering. I know because Ted, you, me and all of our colleagues, we stood at polling booths across this country and we saw the look on people's faces as they came in, sadly not to vote for us. And they were disappointed and they felt let down. And we understand that, and we must learn from that. And we must take the time to get it right. So I've committed to doing that, taking the time to get it right. It is time to step up, regroup and rebuild for the Australian people.